we as women have such a hard time at being self-confident? Hi, my name is Michaela Wild. I'm an international speaker and author of the best-selling book, One Step at a Time, You Can Get Anywhere When You Keep Moving. If you are a woman and you are sometimes struggling with being self-confident, this is for you. And if you are a man and have women around you, either in your private or your business life, you should also listen to this because this might help you a lot. So recently I was speaking at a conference, and what happened afterwards is that an about 20-year-old woman came to me and she asked me, "Can you teach me how to be confident?" And my mind chatter in that moment got crazy because I thought, what? Me teaching somebody how to be self-confident? Does it seem like I am self-confident and know what I do and feel good about what I do? So my mind went crazy. But on the other hand, I thought, well, this has been happening quite a few times, so there might be something about it. So probably it looks like people think that I am confident. So I was thinking about it, and I started talking with her, and what she told me was she has such a hard time finding female role models to look up to. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking, why is it so hard to find a female role model to look up to? There are so many amazing women out there. So for example, one of my greatest female role models is the wonderful Kim Kiyosaki. And I was wondering, why can't she be a role model for everybody else? Because she's such a great role model to me. And then all of a sudden, it dawned on me. There is this super amazing, super successful, super good looking, powerful woman. So why does not everybody look up to her? And I came to this conclusion. There might be, if people know her, they might be looking up to her. But she is so far away from who I am, from where I am in my life, that probably people are intimidated by that. So it's probably like, it's not even worth having somebody like her as a role model because I can never be like that. I am just not that good looking. I am just not that successful. I am not so confident. So yes, I admire her, but I could never be like her. So I was thinking more about, who do young women look up to? And to my mind came all these pop stars, these super good looking, super sexy women. And it's the same. They are so far away. Yes, they are amazing, but we have a hard time identifying with them because they're so far away. How can I ever be like them? So what I realized was that it is such a hard time for women to be confident because those amazing role models that are out there most of the time are so far away that yes, we can look up to them, but we have such a hard time identifying with them. So I was wondering, who are the people closer around us that could be our role models? And the first thing that came to my mind is mothers. I mean, do you have a mother? Everybody does have a mother, no matter if you're in touch with her or not, but we all have a mother. So why can't she be our role model? So then I thought, what about the mother of our mothers, our grandmother? Who did she have to look up to? So I was thinking grandmothers. Grandmothers at that kind of generation, at least if you are in about my generation, a little bit older or younger, it's probably the same. So this generation, the women were mainly the housekeeper. They were responsible for the family and for the house. The man brought in the money. So the man made the decision. The man was the leader of the family. The woman had to make sure everything in the house is fine, the clothes is washed, the food is on the table, the kids are taken care of, and of course she had to be a woman to her husband. And then there come our mothers, who had this woman that I just described as her role model. So our mothers are the generation that some of them had both. They are kind of like the first generation who had their career and they also had family. So they were kind of the first generation that had it all. But still, most of the time, the man was in control. I'm not saying this is everybody, but most of the time. So they had a hard time finding out who they are, because they were, like I said, the first generation that had those choices. And then there's us. Like, we're growing up and we're kind of having the perfect life because we're kind of having it all. At least that's what it looks like from the outside. So now we have this big conflict inside of us, finding out who we really are, because we want to be, or at least we should be, or whatever we want to call it, in our heads, as we get the picture that we are still supposed to be the housewife. Make sure the house is nice and clean. Make sure the food is cooked. Make sure the washing is done. So that's the one thing. Then we are supposed to be great mothers. Warm, loving, patient mothers that do everything for their kids. But then at the same time, we are supposed to be for our men that sexy, good-looking woman that gives it all to her husband and makes sure he has the greatest nights. So that alone, like, that collides. That does not work together. The picture of the mother that takes care of the kids, and then also there comes the role of we are all daughters. So we want to be good girls so our daddies can be proud of us. But that does not come together with the picture of the good-looking, sexy woman in bed. But we want to be both. So we start judging those good-looking women. We are kind of jealous. We want to be them all, but then we are like, okay, so I want to be sexy, so my husband likes me, but at the same time, I gotta make sure that I don't offend the women, and I gotta make sure that not too many men look after me, because that would also make me offend the women. So how am I supposed to be that all? And then what if I want to have a career at the same time? What if I work with a lot of men? If I say my opinion, at least that's my experience, working with a lot of men, having those alpha men around me, and then suddenly the shy girl, starts saying my opinion. It's like, stop bitching around. Do your job. You're not supposed to say your opinion, because when you do say your opinion, you are a bitch, right? So how does that work? So I believe we all have such a hard time finding our identity. Who are we? We are supposed to play all these roles. Oh yes, and then if you are in business and if you are super successful, what happens oftentimes is when you work with men, that we get seen as kind of like the man woman. So when we are not that bitch, but we are a cool, confident woman and work with men, then it's like, she's one of us. She's one of the boys. No, I'm still a woman. So there are all these expectations out there. And probably the worst, the biggest, the hardest expectations are those that I have for myself. How can I be it all? So like I said, I feel like it's not just a confidence that we're lacking, but we are in a crisis because we have no idea who we are. We're supposed to be it all. So why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with just being, without any expectations, without any roles that we are playing, but just being, listening to ourselves. What do I want? What does make me feel good? What do I like right now? What do I like what I think about me right now? Not does anybody else like it. I don't even care what anybody else thinks about me. But what about me? Do I like what I think about me? And can I like me the way I am right now? So like I said, first step, why don't you just start with being? And I'm looking forward to diving deeper into these topics again soon. Thank you.